wrong number in there. I'm going to recorrect it and send it back out tomorrow so that everybody will get that too as well.
Okay, yeah, it was tough, but we finally figured it out. So.
Yeah, I don't know why it would have been different on there because it's not. I'm going to do a little presentation today on particular money adjustments, usage adjustment, reprinting bills, and emailing bills. Just kind of get started on that a little bit to give everybody a chance to understand. We'll try to hit some other subjects as well, too, on that one. And we'll open at the end, we'll open it up to questions. But the questions should be about what we discussed today, because each day we're going to have that questionnaire, and you'll be able to ask more questions as we go along. We got some new reports that we have coming up with that we're going to show on, I think it's on, let's see what day that is. Reports will be on Friday. There'll be a lot more reports. We are recording these as well so that we can put them online and you can look at them later on if you need to too as well. All right?
Perfect, yeah.
All right, so we're going to get started on this one right now. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But if you wait till I'll ask you if there's any questions, then you can answer at that point in time. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the program here. I'm going to bring up UBmax. And by the way, I really appreciate everybody's patience during the time that we had a situation where it was running, either causing it to be locked up or slow down, and that we've probably got by that situation now. We've done some really great adjustments to the program to make it a little bit easier, a lot easier to get into the program and do things like that as well. But it won't be locking up like it did before for you as that. So let me talk a little bit about a couple things, and then we'll get started. First of all, like I said, today we're going to talk about money adjustments and usage adjustments and reprinting bills and emailing bills. Boy, I tell you, if you're not emailing bills today, you're losing a lot of money because that's money that is a direct savings to you. Obviously, you know, it's 55 cents right now for postage. It's going to go to 60 cents and maybe even higher at that point in time. But, I mean, if you had as little as 100 people getting your email bills, you're going to save at least $50 a month or over a period of a year over on that $600. And some of these people that have 2,000 bills that's going to save, they do 1,000 like that, they're going to save somewhere in the neighborhood of around $6,000 a year. So it's amazing how much you can save by doing that and letting the people get their bill by email on that one. And also there's some of you that are going to have questions about paying online with credit cards. We're going to talk about that. Tomorrow, in fact, we're going to be talking about the credit card things. So we're going to try to keep everything in line at this point in time. So let's talk about money adjustments. I want to explain to you a couple things about the program. If you look up here at the top of time where it says keyword up here at the very top, this is not used enough. It should be used a lot more. If you type in something you want to know about, I want to just talk about the support part of this. If I want to know about how to do late fees, and click on the search button with your mouse. You cannot hit enter. You got to click on your search button with the mouse. You'll see it comes up on here. It will take you right to where you go to do late fees, but it also has the documentation for late fees. If I click on the documentation for late fees, you'll see it comes up and has the complete documentation on how to do late fees. You can even change the text in here for your type of system. For example, I got in here that if you do the late charge on the 15th, well, if you do it on the 20th, change it to what you want it to be and print it out so you have a record of that. But it goes through, this is only 2 pages long. It only has to do with late fees. You're not looking through a 50-page manual trying to figure out how to do something. So it's really kind of nice to be able to look at those things and do that. Same thing if you're doing if you're doing how to do, let's say you're trying to look at how to do change rates, rate tables. And you click on the search button at that point. It'll come up and tell you how to do rate tables at that point in time. Again, it's very simple and easy to do. Also, I wanted to show you a couple things about this. If you go into certain things that you go into, let's say you want to go into maintenance and exchange meter, you will find a video button along the way in several places in the program where if you click on the video, it'll show you a video how to do those things. So I think it's very important to take advantage of what's there at that point in time. So whether it be swapping meters out or changing rates out or anything, you see the video button, go ahead and use it at that point in time. All right? Also, one other thing is underneath where it says help and how to, you will see the menu just like the menu going across the top of the screen up here. And if you look at here under customers, for example, if I double click on here, you will see that it has the three subjects that are underneath customers. You'll have on there add new customer, add a tenant, or inquire. And that's the same thing you'll see up here under there. So if I want to know how to add a new customer, if I click on this little yellow button right here, you'll see it opens up and shows me add new customer PDF. When I double click on that one, that'll actually come up and have the complete instructions how to add a new customer. There's a lot of things in the program that'll tell you how to do things if you just look around and see what's there at that point in time. And it's pretty much great detail. You can look at that as well. One of our employees, Rick Alley, who does a lot of the meter stuff, is writing up descriptions of how to do things in the program, and we're going to be putting them online for everybody to get them a little bit more detail than even this is at that point in time. But we'll try to get information to everybody on that as soon as possible. All right, so there's a lot of things to go look at how to do things or how to make adjustments and that. So I want to talk about that first. Let's talk about money adjustments. Now, money adjustments are usually done because you're giving somebody a credit, you're taking something away from them, you're adding a fee onto them at some point in time, or they were the wrong amount that you charged them the wrong amount or something like that. So we're going to use a customer, and I'm going to go use my standby here. I'm going to bring up Jessica here. And just so you know, Jessica Davis is my daughter-in-law. So I always use her anyways. All right, so there's Jessica. So you can see on Jessica, if I go to financial on Jessica over here, you'll see that she's been charged for certain things along the way. And I can take and I can remove things if I want to remove things. If I want to remove the trash, or if I want to remove a water, or if I want to remove a late charge. That seems to be the biggest thing out there is removing late charge. Let's actually go put a late charge on people, and then I'll remove it to give you an idea. Let's go to manage late fees, and I'm going to go ahead and load it up, and we're going to go ahead and post them. I'm going to use, I think I'll probably use Pam Dolan as an example because she's going to have a late fee. So I'm going to go ahead and post her right there. So assume that you've posted late charges, and we're going to go into Pam Dolan's account now. And there she is. And you'll see that there's a late fee on her account right there. You notice it says unbilled. That means it has not been billed to her account yet. It doesn't make any difference whether it was billed or not if you want to remove it. But if it's unbilled, it can do it a lot simpler and easier. If you figure it out, hey, I should not have charged her yesterday for that late charge, you can remove that by clicking the little box in front and going down to where it says adjustment, and you can just type in the words removed or billed. How about billed in error? Anything that you want to say in there at that point in time. And what it does, it just credits that out, that $10 by doing that. And then when I go to save that, you see it's gone. It happened, it's gone at that point in time. Now, I know the next question usually is, yeah, but there's no record of it. Absolutely, there is a record. Underneath where it says customer notes right here, you'll see that there's a note on there that says on 6/13, Dennis removed an unbilled transaction for late fee in the amount of $10 and billed in error. So no matter what you do, you're going to have a record of what happened there. All right, so you don't have to worry about, gee, I don't have a record of it. Yes, you do have a record of that at that point in time. But that's a very simple, easy way to remove something if you want to remove a charge that has not been billed yet, but you want to remove it. If we have something that was already billed, like, for example, trash here, for example, and I want to remove that trash that's already been billed, and she may have already even paid it at that point in time. All I do is check the box again and go down to where it says adjustment, and again, I can put in here that was billed in error. Now, the difference is the late charge was never billed to her. This one has been billed to her. So if it's billed to her, it has to have an offsetting amount. So when I go in here and save that now, you'll see it comes up on here, and it has trash adjustment, billed in error, and posted on 5/13. So now it has that it was billed here, but now we give them back the credit here at that point in time, including any tax or anything else. If there was it's $15 plus tax or whatever it is, it would always include the tax in that transaction as well. So that's very simple and easy how to remove something or how to add something. If I want to double her trash, let's go to somebody else here. Let's go to Dolores Black here, for example. And let's say I didn't bill her enough for trash. If I click on here and say adjustment right here, and I change it from a credit to a debit, and I want to add her, put her in here at $25, I can do that. It says extra can, and save that. Now, when I do that again, it comes up on there, and it has the $25 plus tax. And my demo here, I have tax on gas or trash at that point in time. So it adds a tax onto there at that point. Now, if you notice, it says unbilled. You can't just change a bill that was already done and add it on to that last bill, because if you did that, all your reports would be wrong again. So this will be automatically billed on her next bills that she gets. All right, so it's automatically will change to yellow and be on the next bill. And again, just so you know, if they're in yellow, that means they've been billed out. If they're in white with a green, it means a payment. White with a black means it was unbilled, and the trash right here means it hasn't been billed yet, and it's been a credit or a debit on that one at that point. Any questions about that part?
No.
No.
All right,
No.
it's a pretty simple way to do things on here. And I want to go back and let's bring up somebody else here. Let's bring up, bring up Joe DeVores here. Not Joe. Let's bring up Betty here, for example. So let's assume that Betty, you found out that Betty's meter reading was wrong. Well, now that's a usage adjustment. Now it's also a dollar adjustment, but it's also a usage adjustment. But you should not have to do both. You should be able to do a usage adjustment, which automatically changes the financial adjustment. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I just want to give you an idea of what we're heading for here. But let's take a look at it. So let's go down here. Let's assume that her bill, if we look at her last water bill, we're going to bring it up on the screen right here so you can see it. Her last water bill was for 10,199 gallons. That's a lot of water. And maybe that was wrong. Maybe the meter reading was wrong at that point in time. Now, my demo here does water and sewer, as you can tell right here. If you have water, don't worry about it. It'll just adjust water. If you have water, sewer, and sewer is a flat rate, it won't adjust sewer. It'll only adjust water. But if you have water and sewer where the sewer is dependent upon the water usage, it will adjust both of them, as I'm going to show you here in a second here. But let's assume that this is a wrong meter read, that 142,793 should have been like 139,793. The question is, how do you change that current meter read? How do you change the usage and get them a new bill? So what I'm going to show you is how that happens. I'm going to click on the water amount right here and say make an adjustment. When I do that, it will let me adjust a financial if I want to give them that $10 credit for a water leak. But if the usage is wrong, like we're talking about here, you have to click on adjust usage. When you do that, it'll show you the last meter reading, and you change it what it should have been. And I said 139,793 at that point. So if I put that in there and changing that, I'm lowering that rate on there, and I can say on here, meter malfunction, and then save that. Watch what happens at that point in time. It comes back and gives them a water and a sewer adjustment automatically at that point. So it's really kind of nice. You don't have to use any calculators. You don't have to use anything to do that. It'll just come back, give them an adjustment for water, adjustment for sewer. Now, again, if you only do water, it'll only have a water adjustment. Or if your sewer is flat rate, it'll only do a water adjustment at that point in time. But it automatically comes back, gives them that adjustment. That simple, that easy at that point. Everybody understand that part?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, cool. I don't have 19 people in unison saying yes. All right. Now, there's another thing that happens sometimes, and this is kind of not one I usually show a lot of people, but, we have a lot of people down south, and especially this time of year, where they have pool, and they fill their pools up with water and stuff like that. So I'm going to use somebody else here. Let's use Richard here as an example. So Richard here, he gets a pool fill. And you want to give them, you don't want to charge for sewer on the water, on pool fill. It's only used for doing the water, not for doing the sewer. So you could actually click on the sewer amount right here and do an adjustment for that one. When you do that, it's going to ask you to adjust financials. We don't want to adjust the usage because the usage is always correct. What's wrong is the adjustment on financial wrong because you don't want to charge them for sewer for that much water. So you click on adjust financial. It comes up, shows how much he was charged. And then right here, that little calculator will let you calculate the difference. By going click on it here, it'll say, that's how much usage they had. How much of that do you really want to charge them for? And you say, well, I really want to charge them only for 3,000 gallons. And then you calculate, and it will actually put into the calculation the dollar amount difference, $7.26 in this case. And then you close it, and there's the amount right here, and you say pool fill. and you save it, and automatically will take that, give them a 726 credit on that pool fill automatically at that point. Pretty easy to do, isn't it? It's amazing how many things that we don't tell people about. It's just because there's so much you can do with the program. That's why we do these classes every 3 months on there. All right. Any question about the pool fill? Nope. Okay.
No.
So let's talk about something else that happens. Miscellaneous type of charge. Not the water, not the sewer, not all this stuff, but a miscellaneous type of charge. That could be for maybe it's a repair, or maybe it's a reconnect fee, or a new meter, or it could be a hookup fee. It could be anything. So how we do that, and we go up the top up here where it says financials, and I come down to miscellaneous transactions. Now, the miscellaneous transactions are something you can create yourself. You can give it any name you have. If you look under here, I have down here type of transactions. You can see I have all the different types of transactions that I created. But you don't need all of them. Maybe you only want part of them, and you can have the ones you want by going up the top where it says maintenance and miscellaneous transaction codes and create your own codes. All right. So if you want one that says primacy fee, or if you want one that says meter replacement hookup, or you want one for connection charge, whatever you want, you can have it under miscellaneous transactions. And how that works is this: I click on Find a Customer here. Let's go find somebody here. Let's go for Helen right here. So Helen right now, I can put Helen, and I can say that's going to be a debit or a credit. I can click on the down arrow and find what I want to charge her for. It could be for anything. It could be dog license. It could be a disconnect fee. It could be a labor maintenance. It could be anything you want to be. I could even do a miscellaneous, or maybe I want to do NSF fee. Whatever the case may be, I can choose on here. In this case, I'm going to choose reconnect fee. Let's see if we go here, reconnect fee. And I can click on here with a reconnect fee, and you can see it has a dollar amount of $25. Again, when you set up the code, you can also tell it what you want to charge the customer. So if it's $1,500 for a hookup fee, or $10 for a secondary read, or whatever you want, you can do that. And then you can put a note in here saying reconnect fee for new meter. And then you can apply that right here. When you click on apply, of course, it will put it down below as then at that point in time as a charge to the customer at that point. So it all depends whether you're going to do a debit or a credit. Again, you can do a debit or a credit either way you want to do on that one. But the credits and debits, and you can put it on the system. And let's just go ahead and post this one. By the way, you can print it, and it would come up and show you the printout there, where it's going to be for Helen Formo and her account number 14204, and how much it's going to be on there total. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and post that. Yes. And save. Now, that's a great way to do it. Now, we have had some instances where there's a reason to do it to multiple accounts. I'm sure that people can tell you some things where they want to put on 25 different accounts. They want to charge those 25 different accounts a certain amount at that point in time. And this could be done manually, going through each customer like that and doing it for 25 accounts. There is another way, however, that people don't know about, and that's called file entry. File entry is where you click on here and you say, I want to do a credit, and I want to do it for maybe for a customer credit for whatever reason, and you can put in account number like 13301, and then you do a space and put in maybe a $20 amount right there is all you have to do. And you would just go down the list and keep putting them in there at that point in time, and you create as many as you want. A lot of people will take and copy it from a spreadsheet directly into the program and automatically give the customer that $20 credit. We had somebody, and unfortunately had overbilled the customer over a past of a year, and they had to give everybody back a dollar amount. And so what we were able to do is create a spreadsheet, and then every month just drop in how much of a credit they were giving back to the customer at that point in time. But if you do it this way here, and then you go ahead and load that, it will take and put that $20 right on that customer account. That simple at that point in time. So there are kind of a lot of different ways you can do things. And there's no reason not to call us and ask us how to do things. We'd be more than happy to tell you. If I go back and look at that customer now, let's go back to 13301. 13301. I think it was. And Jessica, and you'll see that on there is a customer credit unbilled of $20. Puts it on there automatically, just like that at that point in time. So there's a lot of great things. Let's go back and look at that miscellaneous transaction codes, because underneath there is where you create the codes. And when you create the codes, you can have as many codes as you want on here. And you would just go up to the top up here or bottom here and put in here maybe a repair fee. And maybe that's for a meter. And you can put a code for it, put RFM fee, whatever you want to do, call it. And you can say it's a debit, and you can say it's going to be $50. And then you can put in that it's you can put it in whether it's done monthly, quarterly, or just every April, whatever you want to do. Some places will put in a fee that's happened every year, and maybe it's a primacy fee that happens every October, and then every October it'll automatically put that amount on for the primacy fee once a year is all it will do then at that point in time. But if I set none, it'll just put in there so you can use it anytime you want. And I can say whether it's taxable or not, and just put a 0 for allocation and save it. Once I save it, that becomes a part of the system then, and I can go in there and do it on anybody's account and put that in there as a charge on each account or every account. It all depends on how I want to do that. Right? So it's important to know all that. And you can type up here MISC. I think you can find it under miscellaneous transaction. I'm not even sure at this point. Yeah, miscellaneous transaction. There you are right there. So you click on there. It'll go through the whole process of how to do miscellaneous mass credits and charges in UBmax. So again, all you got to do is figure out which the name is and go ahead and do it. If you have a problem, you call us and we'll tell you what it is. All right. So again, charges on doing credits and debits to customers' accounts are pretty simple. Changing meter readings are pretty simple. But I'm going to caution you about meter readings. Meter readings should not be changed. If you have an actual meter reading that is true and correct, you should not change that meter reading unless it was wrong. If you change a meter reading, it also changes all your history at that point in time too as well. So it's important to understand that you just don't want to change a meter reading for the sake of changing the meter reading. You want to have a good reason for changing the meter reading at that point. Now, some people have asked me, how do you change a previous reading if it was in there wrong? All right? Because if you go up the top up here, post meter readings, let's just go up here once and look at meter readings. And there's all of my meter readings in here. If I found out that for some reason, the previous meter reading, and let's use Robert Anderson, 10204. Write him down, 10204. And let's say that 10204, his meter read was correct on his current one, but his previous one was wrong. It should have been 106,873. 106,873. How do you change that? Because you cannot change it in the previous. You cannot get in there and change that. So where we do is we go to the account number, 10204, bring up the account, go down to usages. I find the one that was wrong. That's this one right here. I click on it, and I say make an adjustment. When I do that, you can see it comes up. There's the 108,873, and if I want to change it to 106,873, I just change that number here, 106,873, and say there was a read error. And save it. That way you're, oops, that changed the last meter reading. Let me cancel that for a second. You want to change this one, because this one's already been billed. We hit the wrong one. It's this one that's wrong. You want to change that. So you click on here, and you go to adjustment and change it to 106,873. And then you save it at that point. Now look at it. It has 6,443. And when I've changed that reading in there, on there, it comes back to 8,443 because it was able to change the previous reading, bringing it to be correct at that point. As long as I'm in here, I get a lot of questions. What does the Y, the N, and all that mean down here? Whether it's abnormal or not. If it's yes, it's abnormal. Something's wrong. It's normal. It's too high or higher or lower than what it should be as an average. N means it's normal. All right.
Okay.
And E means it was an estimate. If you get an E in there, that means it was estimated.
Okay.
Now, question I'm going to tell you about estimations, though, as long as I got you here. If you do estimation for 3 months in a row, the next one you get may be a yes for abnormal because it may have been estimated low, low, and low, and then when you get a real reading, it looks high. All right? So, but that'll happen. I mean, but I get a lot of calls saying, how come my meter reading is so high? Well, it's because they estimated low for 3 months, and then when they get the real one, it looks real high at that point in time. Or they estimate too high, and the last one gets too low, and it gets abnormal at that point in time too as well. So again, kind of look at that and understand what you're doing with that when it comes to reading that, if it's estimate or normal reading at that point in time.
Now, what does the Y stand for again?
Y means it's abnormal. The AB is for abnormal, and yes is abnormal. N it means it's not or normal, and E is for estimate.
Okay.
All right. So just kind of look at how those come together at that point, because generally speaking, 90% of the time that your meter readings are read, they're correct. All right. There's instances where they can be wrong. Absolutely, it can be wrong. The meter can be malfunctioning. The person that reads the meter can just put down the wrong meter read, or he's using a pencil and paper and he just doesn't do it right, and you have a lot of mis meter reads at that point in time. So again, just kind of be careful about that when you're looking at that. Just make sure you're doing it the right way at that point. Okay, so we talked here a little bit here already now about the money changes and usage changes. I just want to talk quickly about reprinted bills and email bills. Again, if we go back to, let's go back to Jessica here. We have 2 email addresses in here. We have one email and email 2. If they get an email, it's going to be right here. Now, an email can be not only for bills, but for anything you want. If I want to send Jessica an email right here, I just click on the word email right in front of that, and what it does, it opens up the program, and it pre-addresses it to her, so I can type in anything I want to. I can say, hey, Jessica, you didn't pay your bill last month. If you don't pay by the end of the week, you may be disconnected. Or, hey, there's a rabid raccoon spot in your area, or maybe there's a big council meeting coming up, and you should attend that. I mean, anything you want to do, you can do with our program to do a instant email to them. If they have an email address, that's important. They got to have an email address. Now, we also have it underneath service and billing. If you're going to email the customer, that would be an email bill, and you would put in the email address. We did do this, however. If you don't have an email here, and it is email, it will default then to the email address under the customer record as well. So we usually get them out any which way you want. But it's a great idea if you put one there and put one underneath here where it says email, because they may want one at their office. They may want one at a different location or to their phone. It all depends on what you want to do. But emails are really a great way to do that. Now, there's 2 ways of doing email, of course. One is to, when you go to do a billing, it will have a yellow envelope, and it means to email the bill. You can also do what I'm doing right now. You click on any bill you want to. Again, you have to be on the yellow part somewhere in there. You click on any bill. If they want one from last January, you click on last January's bill. You only have to click on one item and say email bill. When you click on email bill, it will come up and show you their email. You just say okay. It will turn around and email that bill out. It's a great way to do it at that point in time. All right? Any question about emailing bills from here?
No.
All right. Again, a couple other things you could do when you go to do late fees, and I'll go back to that for a second. And you load them up, you'll see that people have a yellow envelope there. That means they're going to get an email bill on that late charge. Same thing when you do bills, you'll have the yellow envelope on the bills too, the same exact way, and that way they'll get email bills on that at that point in time. So again, the more you have with the yellow envelope, the better it is, believe me. Less worry, less having to wonder if the bill goes through the mail or it doesn't get printed out or anything like that. So it's an important part to do that. All right. So again, everybody knows how to reprint a bill, I believe. Again, all you have to do is click on there, go to any billing customer you want to, click on anything you want, and then just say decide if you want to do a PDF or you want to do a full-page bill card. Either way, just click on it, and it'll come up and be ready for you to print a bill at that point. I don't want to overdo anybody today. Has anybody got any questions at this point in time? Otherwise, we're going to call it a night, and tomorrow we'll do another one.
Nope.
Any questions?
I'm good.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. And
Dennis?
we're going to record this. Go ahead. You had a question.
On the where you set up the miscellaneous transactions, is that just for the person?
No, this is for your whole system.
Or does everybody see it?
No, this is no. When you do a transaction here, And only time that it's ever going to show up on anybody's record is when you put it on the record. This is just where you put them up, you create them here. All right?
No, I mean, if I set up my own, do everybody else who uses this software program see it?
Yes, they will see that.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, they will see that. You put it on your computer, any other computer will be able to see that. By the way, you probably have noticed that one of the things that sometimes you'll do, now you'll find that if you have two computers in your office, if you're doing a report, and then somebody else is trying to do the same report, it kind of notifies you can't do that now. And that's a great thing, because that was really what was holding us up and causing a lot of problems with bottlenecking of the data at that point in time. So, again, I think it's important to do that. We're already working on some new reports. We have a brand new report that comes out probably tomorrow. And I'll just give you a quick idea what it looks like. It's underneath reports. And it's going to be the usage history report right here. And what we did is we added right to this part right here. Let me show it to you what it looks like. We added this where you could go in there and you can now select by division, by class, by routes, or by the account. So you get a much more definition of what you're looking for. If you want to look at just by residential or just by commercial or just by Route 1 or Route 2, you get a better indication of what your usages are by doing it that way. So that'll be on there as of tomorrow on there. And I'll probably go through it on the reports when we go to Report Center. All right? If there's no other questions, I'll be, and if you want to send me an email, I'll be happy to answer any emails also by email too as well. All right. Any questions? Any other questions?
Oh,
Nope.
I'm good. Nope.